morning, I'm Abhyuday Shrestha, and these are the headlines for this hour. Out of the 12,000 kilometers of roads constructed by the Department of Roads, only 9,000 blacktopped so far, around 82% of the roads in a sorry state due to the lack of repair. Middlemen taking undue advantage at the vegetable market as concerned authority fails to monitor the market. Retailers collecting profit of more than 600%. European Union's chief Brexit negotiator Michel Barnier says decisive progress has been made in reaching a final agreement on the UK's departure from the EU. And Sri Lanka sealed their first win of the 2018 Women's World T20 with a 25-run victory over Bangladesh. Let's begin with the latest national political updates. In the past 2 weeks alone, 2 provincial ministers have been dismissed from their posts for failing to keep their professional integrity. Disciplinary action has been taken against the chief ministers of Province 3 and Sudhir Pashchim or Far Western Province during the preliminary stage of practicing federalism. The incidents of the dismissal of such high post officials have portrayed our overall political culture and etiquettes. On the 2nd of November, the Minister for Fiscal Infrastructure for Province 3, Keshav Stapit, was sacked from his position on disciplinary grounds. Likewise, Social Development Minister of Sudur Pashchim Province, Dirgabahadur Sodari, was relieved from his position on Tuesday on disciplinary grounds as well. The allegations and prosecutions pertaining to both the ministers are of the same reason, as both of them have been accused of violating work ethics. Stapit has blamed foreign interference behind his dismissal, while Sodari has alleged of being a victim of intra-party differences with the ruling Nepal Communist Party. Such incidents, nonetheless, clearly depict the failure of the appointment process and the kind of intra-party atmosphere prevailing within the political parties. However, regardless of the manner in which these officials were removed, one cannot deny that they failed to live up to their responsibility and reputation. The anarchic and disorderly nature of the ones holding top public positions have come to the fore due to the prevalence of the tendency of using politics as a mere platform to showcase power and use it to fulfill one's vested interests. Likewise, the malpractice that was otherwise confined to the center now seems to have reached the local levels as well. Out of the total 12,000 kilometers of roads constructed by the Department of Roads across the country, only 9,000 kilometers have been blacktopped so far. Around 82% of the roads under the jurisdiction of the department are in a sorry state due to the lack of even basic repair works. Out of the 9,000 kilometers of roads that the Department of Roads is responsible for, only 16 kilometers are in good condition. The department says it is planning to reduce the portion of the damaged roads to less than 5% and has attributed the lack of budget, unmanaged drainage systems, and vehicle overloads, among others, as reasons for the sorry state of the roads. Likewise, the Department of Roads has said it needs 15 billion rupees to execute the road repairs properly, while the government has been allocating only around 4 billion rupees annually. Experts have opined that mere superficial repairs are insufficient, taking into account the extent of damage the roads have sustained. The trend of adding new road tracks haphazardly has also recently prevailed, which has left the already damaged sections unattended. In addition to that, the persistent indifference towards the matter clearly portrays the lack of the government's sustainable planning in terms of the country's basic infrastructures. We'll take a short break here. We have more news coming up. Welcome back. The government has recently been bragging about building well-facilitated view towers in Biratnagar, among other major urban and market areas. The basic infrastructure, like proper public toilets, however, is virtually non-existent in the city areas across the country. The continuous lack of facility that is otherwise fundamentally essential in public places is none other than an example of our degrading pace of civilization and development. Apart from the general public, it is even more difficult for people with physical disabilities in case they need to use toilets when they travel to urban areas. For instance, the Darbar Marga area, located at the heart of the capital that boasts of the Naranhiti Palace Museum along with attractive and expensive sales showrooms and banks, does not even have a single public toilet, at least within 15 to 20 minutes of walking distance. The scenario is equally disappointing also along the Koteshwar-Kalanki road section. The road section that splits the capital city into two halves is considered as the best and most comfortable compared to other road sections in the country. However, anyone passing through this road section by vehicle or on foot would get into trouble if encountered by nature call, as there is not even a single public toilet along the stretch. It is even more difficult for children, elderly, pregnant women, and people with physical disabilities and illnesses. The local governments recently laid foundations for the much-hyped view towers. However, no one in the authority even seems interested or aware in building public lavatories or washrooms, which falls under one of the dire necessities of the public. We have more news coming up, but right now it's time for another short break. Welcome back. Even after the approval of tenders to respective companies in Kailali, dozens of construction works have not commenced yet. Those that have begun were found to be below par quality during monitoring carried out by concerned authorities. In this context, we had asked the public of Dhangari what should be done to make construction works qualitative and to complete them on time. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public voice.
सरकारको मुख्य दायित्व हुन्छ र नैतिकवान ठेकदारहरू पनि हुनुपर्छ। यसका लागि चाहिँ जुन प्राविधिकहरू हुन्, प्राविधिकले पनि गुणस्तर राम्रोसँग हेर्नुपर्छ।
समयमा काम पुरा हुँदैन भने समय थप्नेतिर होइन कि त्यसलाई खारेज गरेर नौलोलाई पनि ट्राई गर्नु पर्यो।
जनप्रतिनिधिहरू जो आउनुभएको छ, जितेर आउनुभएको छ, जनताले उहाँहरूलाई चुनेर पठाउनु भएको छ भने चाहिँ उहाँहरूले चाहिँ यसमा समय-समयमा सम्बन्धित निकायहरूलाई घचघच्याउने,
सम्बन्धित निकायको राम्रो ध्यान नजाँदा, रेखदेख राम्रोसँग ठेकदारलाई टाइट नगर्दा यो समयमा नबन्ने कारण पनि त्यो हो।
जुन निर्माणका कामहरू चाहिँ सिद्ध्याउँदैन, गुणस्तरहीन काम गर्छ, त्यस्ता ठेकदारहरूलाई चाहिँ कारबाही गर्ने र तत्काल उसको लाइसेन्स पनि खारिज गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ र राम्रो काम गर्ने ठेकदारहरूलाई चाहिँ पुरस्कृत गरेर चाहिँ उलाई चाहिँ थप नयाँ कामहरू दिनुपर्ने हुन्छ।
It may sound surprising to many that the wholesale price of cauliflower is 3 rupees per kilogram, while it is 10 rupees for tomatoes. The end consumers, however, pay as much as 5 times the original price for such vegetables on the market. It has been common that farmers hardly get adequate monetary return for their produce, while the public is compelled to pay exorbitant prices. The concerned authority has persistently failed to monitor and regulate the scenario and punish the middlemen who have been reaping undue advantage. Apart from the middlemen, the retailers have also been collecting more than 600% profit, which they themselves admit. The farmers, on the other hand, have not even been getting the minimum price they deserve. It is the responsibility of the Department of Commerce to regulate the market to ensure that neither the farmers nor the public are ripped off on a daily basis. However, the authority itself is indifferent towards the glaring issue despite repeated calls from stakeholders and the public at large. The market monitoring conducted by the government has already proved to be a mere show-off, as not a single guilty person has ever been prosecuted other than temporarily sealing of their outlets. It is therefore not a surprise that black marketeering has survived and thrived to the plight of the general public and farmers who are devoid of the return they deserve for their hard work. It's now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And here's the question. What is your take on the unreasonable difference between the wholesale and retail prices of vegetables? Your options are A, retailers' high-handedness, B, impunity, and C, indifferent consumers. The voting is on. Type in EWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And it's time now for the sports news.
Sports news.
Sri Lanka sealed their first win of the 2018 Women's World Cup T20 with a 25-run victory over Bangladesh. In the match played at the Darren Sammy National Cricket Stadium in St. Lucia this morning, Bangladesh won the toss and invited Sri Lanka to bat first. Sri Lanka lost their first wicket of Yashoda Mendis in the first ball of the innings and kept on losing wickets at regular intervals. Sri Lanka finally managed to post a total of 97 runs in the allotted 20 overs, losing 7 wickets. Shashikala Sirivardhane, who scored 31 runs, was the top scorer for Sri Lanka, while Jahanara Alam was the top wicket taker for Bangladesh, claiming 3 wickets. Chasing a target of 98 runs for victory, Bangladesh were bundled up for just 72 runs in 20 overs. Bangladesh also lost their first wicket in the first ball of the innings when Sanjida Islam got out for a golden duck. Nigar Sultana top scored for Bangladesh with 20 runs, while Chamira Atapattu, who grabbed 3 wickets, was the pick of the Sri Lankan bowlers. This is the 3rd consecutive loss for Bangladesh in the tournament. And now, before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories once again. Out of the 12,000 kilometers of roads constructed by the Department of Roads, only 9,000 blacktopped so far, around 82% of the roads in a sorry state due to the lack of repair. Middlemen taking undue advantage at the vegetable market as concerned authority fails to monitor the market. Retailers collecting profit of more than 600%. European Union's chief Brexit negotiator Michel Barnier says decisive progress has been made in reaching a final agreement on the UK's departure from the EU. And Sri Lanka sealed their first win of the 2018 Women's World T20 with a 25-run victory over Bangladesh. And that's all for the moment. Our next English bulletin will air at 11 this morning. Keep watching Kantipur Television HD for more news and entertainment. Thank you for watching. Have a good morning.